The Jimmy is against Run It Down, and we are heading into our first game. Infernal Shrines, the Jimmies on the left with Fuzzy on Reyna. We have Sandwhale on Stukov, Public on Arthas, Radfan on Kelthas, and Grouch on Johanna. And on the right side of the map, Run It Down with Barracuda on Jaina, Cheer It Up on Tyrande, Nachtkind on Cassia, Dwibble on Garrosh, and Blackthorn on Leoric. Alright, let's check out what we're going to have in this game. Now, first of all, of course, the synergy with Arthas is going to proc that ace in the hole pretty consistently, that we see now also as a level 1 talent from Reyna. And we have the range on level 1 for Stukov, trying to stay a little bit farther in the back. When it comes to these engages, you have to be careful of Garrosh, obviously. A Garrosh flip into a quick stun from Tyrande would be the ideal setup. And we have Convection taken by Kelthas. So we are going full beam here in Division 7, going straight for it, and he already has a stack. Obviously he needs to be super careful that Dwibble is not going to get close enough to flip him over, because you don't want to lose those stacks. But we actually have him going for that extra damage here. There's very little to jump on him in the late game. Well, that's actually not quite true. Leoric can always ghost in, but let's see how much Radfan can really do here. I mean, he definitely... So Radfan means biking in German, and so he should have the leg strength to really carry his team here. He has the calves fight, I would assume. Barracuda already, eating some damage. Here comes the wave clear. 2 stacks on Convection, but that's all there's to it. And Radfan needs to be very careful with the rotation that he's going to make, because he can't run into the opponent's team. Of course, he's not the only one that is currently stacking. Nachtkind is also trying to get those Lightning Fury stacks in, and so far we are having Cassia on 5 stacks completed. So we'll of course attempt to get that in slowly and steadily here, especially for the synergy with the level 13 and 16 talents that we can still assume if you're going into a Lightning Fury build over any kind of Fen shenanigans. But otherwise, they're definitely going to be on Kelthas. Kelthas, if he completes everything, is going to be in a decent spot. Fuzzy, on the other hand, stays out way too late and gets blown to pieces. Fuzzy goes down. They put some damage onto Dwibble, but I doubt they're going to be able to get the kill in. Very nicely done, on the other hand, with a silence here from Sandwhale. And they got a few more stacks also for Kelthas, who's now sitting at 6 stacks on his Convection. He's going to try and get all that damage out, and so far things are looking good for a Kelthas player. Level 4 talents are slightly quicker, and you look at experience and you realize really quickly that we have a big difference between the two teams, simply because of lane experience at this point. So that's definitely something where the Jimmies have to start catching up. Yeah, down to the bottom of the map, another camp about to be taken. All that damage that comes from Jaina with the burst obviously helps to take these mercenary camps very easily. Their first shrine activating in the middle though. But it actually comes down now to the Jimmies and how they are playing around this, because again they are behind experience. If they lose the objective, they might be in a bit of trouble. They might be in a position where it's going to be very difficult for them to come back from this. Should probably still take that wave, which they don't. So we have them moving into the middle. Position on the other hand has already been taken by Run It Down. Throwing in Arthas, but he should still get the help here. Dodging the stun, in comes Johanna, the condemn, and Kelthas again with a few more stacks as he gets the flame strike through, goes for the damage. Dwibble needs to be careful, and already the control thanks to the flame strike and the silence, trying to make sure that nobody is moving in here. Public is low, and he goes down. Arthas eliminated as Kelthas is still attempting to stack here. Another great opportunity for a flame strike, and he hits it hard. 14 stacks already. Garrosh is low and barely gets out. But the lead in the stacks currently for the Jimmies. And we have again Johanna at the front, but she's low in mana. She should definitely not walk into that spot, and goes down too. On cooldown with the Iron Skin, and that is the end of her. So now we're having the next hit straight away against Jaina down here. Dwibble is a bit low too, and gets actually a Howling Blasted. There's no follow-up with the Gravity Lapse on the other hand. Kelthas a bit low on mana, sitting currently at 16 stacks, and still the lead for the blue team on the minions for the shrine. So they're fighting over it, and guess who's back? Johanna. She's on the map and making her way straight towards the objective. It's a close call here. Oh, but Reyna again tossed in, and Fuzzy, even with a fight or flight, is not able to survive. Radfan has so many chances now for another Flame Strike and is trying to get those in, but hits nothing but dead space here. Cheer It Up is low, so is Barracuda. It's a tough battle for the final few hits, and all that they need is 2 more. 1 more against 4, and it is the blue team who barely takes it. They barely claim it. Kalthas is 1 stack away from getting his convection value. He can use it over here if he wants to, and he completes it. They take down Garrosh at the same time. And here comes the Punisher and the damage. Kalthas action satisfaction. That's what we're going to have now. Not as safe as he probably would love to be, but he is definitely bringing the pain at this point. Getting the additional 100 damage. And that is going to hurt hard if they can use that and stack it, of course, during those fights against 2 or 3 heroes. We have him on level 7 immediately with the Burned Flesh, so even more damage through the Flame Strike from him, and especially towards level 20 with him using Flame Strike from a distance through the Flamethrower. That would be a terrifying tool in the arsenal of the Jimmies to take down their opponent. For now, the Punisher defeated, but we have the mid lane completely opened up to the top. Public on his Arthas, still fighting up against Blackthorn here, so that little duo between Arthas on his little soap bubble and Leoric is still a thing. In terms of talents outside of that, we have on level 7 no Celestial Attunement. Instead we are actually seeing now Moonlit Arrows. Not a big fan of that particular choice, to be honest with you. I think if you don't want to go into Celestial Attunement, even though personally I think that would still be a good choice here, it would be better to go for Khaldor's Resistance to get the spell damage reduction, because the problem is you have Kalthas with Living Bomb, Convection and the Flame Strikes against you, and that is going to hurt you no matter what happens here. So maybe not the perfect choice right now. Reyna basically saying that he goes for Fuel the Rush here, because he feels that even with his level 1 choice ace in the hole, he doesn't need that slow proc by himself, considering that he has so many heroes in the game that can proc slows on the opponent for him, so that he gets those extra 15% damage. The early level 10 still for the red team. This is one of the problems that the blue team currently has. They take the kills, and they got 1 kill and they got the objective, but they lost 5 heroes and they lost a few waves of minions on the map too. So they fell behind in the experience pretty heavily. And now they're probably gonna lose. Kalthas, 1 gravity lapse, here's the throw, and the entomb right away into the taunt. And down they go. KT and Johanna both dead. And that's a setup. You can't run into this. Again, we come back to the same problem. Why do you move here? It's a question that a lot of you watching this that play on a lower level should answer right now. Why do you go there? What's your goal? If your goal is just soaking the experience, you can sit here on your mount. You can just sit here, there on your mount. You don't have to attack this. The second you walk in and start attacking it, you get so far out that your opponent, as we just saw, rotates in and just completely destroys you, because they have a huge advantage with the level 10. If you just sit on the mount back here, and you can still soak the experience, you are safe, you can always move away from your opponent, and you're losing nothing. The only reason to really push that out is because you want to push the lane out. And if you are already in a situation where you need to play a bit more defensive because your opponent has a talent advantage, a numeric advantage, and in this case even a heroic ability advantage over you, there's no reason to push that lane out. You want to sit safe closer to your tower so that you can always retreat. And it's one of the things that you definitely need to learn when you are starting to play Heroes of the Storm, or when you are playing in the lower leagues, that you don't have to always go in here right away. Sometimes it's just safer to play it patient, to wait, and to not expose yourself to potential damage. So for now, here's the Entomb again, but Johanna with the Iron Skin used right away, and this is a little bit of a different setup. Triple ring though, but Jaina herself in a lot of trouble. Barracuda is still trying to drop Kalthas, the two of them dancing around, but the rest of the team is fighting to the top, and that's where especially Garrosh has a massive problem, and it's called Jim Reyna, the Renegade. Down goes the front line, the tank eliminated. Good Iron Skin from Johanna as the entire fight was initiated, and even though Barracuda hit a great Ring of Frost, the counter damage was really, really solid. Now we have the Phoenix as well, and that already did a fair amount of work during the last fight, but of course for the blue team the concern is now that level 13 talent that is soon going to drop for their opponent. In terms of heroic abilities, We have most of them already used. We have only Entomb and Taunt up at this point, since they were used earlier. But just look at it, massive lead in stacks on the Shrine. They are going to win another Punisher. But they also need to rotate someone into the middle, because that's another wave that they're just losing now. No one is soaking this. It's an entire experience wave that's lost, and you need to make sure that you grab that. The problem for the red team, on the other hand, is that Run It Down doesn't have anybody topside either. So the Punisher is not getting baited over in time. It's very late, tower is already down, and this means we're going to look at a lot of damage towards that first fort topside. Let's try to make the way now, but if the fort falls, then the passive experience is going to increase for the Jimmies, and that's exactly what we're going to see happening here. Arthas is already in the middle, Leoric is pushing out the bot lane, but this is a lot of damage now. And once the Punisher jumps again, you can follow that up with a Gravity Lapse. Kael'thas is already doing a ton of work with that convection damage. As long as he doesn't die, it's a good setup for the team. Another wave, by the way, lost at the bottom of the map, so you can really tell that this is starting to become a problem. Public rotates in, still misses one minion, so didn't miss as much as we could have seen, and he can't do that because the rest of the team is going into the middle. Blackthorn falls, Leoric is down, and we have 13 on both sides. And that means that for Cassia, we're seeing Thunder God's Vigor now as well. So she goes straight into the cooldown reduction, and we will see her then on the next talent here with the Pierce. Or at least that's what we would assume is going to happen. What's also happening is Arthur's getting buddied. Again, too far out. We come back to the same thing. You don't have a vision of your opponent. Play it safe. Play it a little bit closer to home. The damage output, for the time being, heavily in favor of the blue team, especially Kael'thas, of course. Oh, ho, ho, ho! Kael'thas with the work, but Barracuda on Jaina is retaliating right away, and that's the end of Johanna. It's a bit of a problem that everybody seems to be drawn towards that Ring of Frost, so whenever Barracuda moves in, he's not getting punished, and that is an issue because he can just, without getting punished, move in straight to the fight and drop it. What the blue team should do is focus Jaina when she moves that far in. The way she engages right now, she oftentimes exposes herself to potential pressure. So when she moves in and you hit a quick Gravity Lapse, you can just simply blow her to pieces immediately. Or Stukov, for example, could hold back the silence and just wait for her in particular and try to isolate her. Of course, you have to split that attention a little bit since Garrosh is looking for that flip, so you need to make sure, okay, who do we want to attack right now? Talking about attacking, here comes the flip again. Johanna, on the other hand, can walk away from this one. Reyna with a penetrating round. Blessed Shield. There's the Howling Blast. They go for Jaina. Where's that silence when you need it? Army is being used, and that's the end of Garrosh. Gets isolated. Oh, and again, Barracuda way too far out here. But they cannot get the kill. They're a little bit too slow to react and can't get the kill. But they can get the fort in the mid lane after they already took down the top. But as you can see now, still a massive lead in experience for the red team. So let's look at this real quickly. Just compare experience here. The heroes' experience is of course also in favor of the red team, simply because they have taken down 9 heroes compared to the 4 that the blue team dropped. But you look at the minion experience, and that is a massive difference. 3,000 experience difference in minions. That is absolutely insane. And it highlights again that the Jimmies have a big problem rotating on lanes quick enough to soak the experience that comes through those minion waves. If not for that, they would at this point be ahead in experience even. They have now taken down 2 forts, and their passive experience is going to lead. But one of the things that they have to clean up in the future, if they want to become stronger, is just rotate quicker. Realize when waves are about to hit that tower so that they are in range to get that experience. Look, for example, at the 2 solo laners that we have. Arthas is sitting below 10,000 XP, whereas Leoric is at 13k through those rotations. When it comes to the fights now, they're starting to look a lot better though. Nachtkind is getting obliterated with that rotation, and they're not stopping there. They're trying to go for Garrosh again as well. Not quite able to close the distance to him, but Leoric, he's too deep and he dies too. Kill after kill coming through now, and the red blue team definitely starting to become a lot stronger here. Also at this point with the Pyromaniac for the cooldown reduction, the Ignite, another fantastic tool here for Kael'thas, especially once that he gets flamethrowers in. And with that, they are claiming another shrine. And since they just dropped 2 targets, they have a really good chance to make sure that they are getting another Punisher. And that would be the 3rd one in their favor. The build completed for Cassia. Pierce is there. That really helps with the damage output from her. But already Dribble in position in the back line. Oh, Leo going in deep too. They need to be a bit careful with this one. Punisher is there. Punisher's going to jump onto this in just a few seconds. And there could be a follow-up. And there it is already. Triple Howling Blast. And they're trying to spread the damage now. There comes the Punisher stun. He wants a piece of the action and he gets it. Tyrande is down. Dribble on his Garrosh, barely walking away. I think an Immortal Coil from Arthas would have done the job there, but no matter how this ends, this is going to be another great move by the blue team as they go for the next structure. Another fort about to be taken out, and that's the entire outer ring of defense eliminated from Run It Down. Run It Down, they are in a tough spot. They are looking at their first keep. They have to defend here. They have good stacks though, not quite completed yet on Cassia, and we have 17 for Tyrande, which isn't too bad. Also, Garrosh hasn't completed his level 1 quest yet either. There we go. Gets the hit in. But here comes the lockdown against Nachkind, and that's a huge problem. Going a little bit too far out. The throw from Garrosh trying to save her. Throws her into the fort, but she dies regardless. Cassia down, and now the wall open. The Punisher jumping in again. He wants to have a say in this. Public is zoning out Barracuda here, and the keep is down. Leo isn't even with them. Leo is all the way up at the top. Apparently from the get-go they were saying, guys, we're gonna lose the keep here anyways. Let's try and get some experience topside so that we don't fall too far behind. But passive experience is, of course, right now, pretty much snowballing for the blue team, as you can see here. 3,000 already the difference in passive experience, and that gap is going to increase as time continues if we don't have any forts taken down by Run It Down. And they are in a tough spot because level 19 is closer. The problem for Run It Down is just simply they haven't won an objective. They have a lot of trouble taking those down, and the kills, they're just not coming right now anymore. There's a lot of tanky talents now for the blue team. The Jimmies are doing fairly well here, even stealing the camp away. And level 10, 20 would also give us Flamethrower, which increases the safety. That Kalthas has even more. Choke point fight, bad idea. Really bad idea against this team. You don't want to go there, and they lose Garrosh immediately, and they might even lose more. There goes Leoric, they take down Tyrande, and even if Arthas falls, which he does, it's still a 1-for-3 trade. They're trying to make the play for Nachtkin too, but this time not successful. Barracuda, on the other hand, gets the ring out, but that's still going to be the end of Jaina. Bad idea to fight into a choke point. You're playing against an opponent that has Flame Strike with Convection on level 1. The Phoenix, Johanna with all the blinds. Like, the choke point battle is literally the worst battle that could be taken by Run It Down here. They're moving into a position where they just don't have a chance, especially not against Stukov. And this is going to be game number 1 as the Jimmies are taking the lead in this best of 3 in Division 7 of heroeslaunch.gg. Well played by the Jimmies, claiming victory on Infernal Shrines. Game number 2, the Jimmies in the lead against Run It Down, and Sky Temple is our next map. So, as we are heading into our second game, the question is, how will Run It Down adjust to this right now? How are they going to play this? Last game started off fairly well, but then it kind of fell apart in the mid and late game a bit when they took fights that they probably should have avoided there. In comes the ban against Kalthas. A little bit more value for the hero on Infernal Shrines over Sky Temple, I'd say, but still they don't want to deal with that anymore. Convection stacks, once that they got completed, definitely delivered a lot of damage on their side. And it's in general just a mage ban fiesta that we're seeing here again. The Jimmies banning out Gul'dan as they did in the last game. And we have a Run It Down now also with the second ban. And well, the chance to ban out Offia, which I think they did previously, but then to be fair, tanks are still of course a big priority. And you might be tempted to ban something like Diablo, like Garrosh. And Diablo it is. Lord of Terror is out. Second ban on the other hand. What do you ban out here from the Jimmies? Asmodan again. Teams in Division 7 are very, very afraid of Asmodan. Yeah, like, he's... I haven't really seen too much of an impact as Modan yet in Division 7, to be honest. He's been picked several times, and he can be annoying, but we haven't really seen him being, you know, like the one hero that carries the team to victory. Like most of the time, the only thing that he could really deliver was a bit of push on lane, and it always felt like the opponent's team could simply just set someone up to deal with him. Be it as it may, nobody really wants to deal with him too much here, so he gets banned out in game number 2 as he was in game number 1. We're having Johanna now picked as the first pick on the side of Run It Down, which leaves, of course, Garrosh open. So if you want to play with Garrosh yourself, this might be the time to pick him. But we have a double global. Look who thinks they're Fnatic. The Jimmies all of a sudden going full HEC style. That makes me curious. So Falstad, of course, is great to control the boss, because you have Mighty Gust that you can use to gust your opponent away if you play that well. But they're trying to execute a double global play. Now, why is that a bit like, be careful here? Simply because in Division 7, what we usually do not have is macro awareness and good macro play in general. And that's what global heroes normally want you to do. And we highlighted that in the last game slightly when we talked about how the Jimmies were missing experience on the lane continuously. So if they have the awareness now in game number 2 and really time their globals around it, that would be fantastic for them, and they can make a lot of that happen. But the idea is that you play around your opponent, and they have now to show that they're capable of doing that. Johanna, Genji, and Ana, on the other hand, for Run It Down, with a ban on Jaina. Don't want to risk a Jaina with a nano boost here. But call me intrigued. Double global is not something that I expected here from the Jimmies, especially not in Division 7. Question, of course, is first of all, is Falstad really going into a Mighty Gust? We've seen a lot of Hinterland Blast here, so that could be the thing. And top right, the ban, Muradin. Muradin ban over the Garrosh ban. It's an interesting one. Did not quite see Muradin getting banned out here. I think they are very likely going to head into Garrosh for their pick. Still other options. I mean, they picked Yahaka, but you can still pick an ETC if you want to. A Nubarak also available. If they don't have... oh, there's Lily first of all. And a Nubarak. Alright, it's getting a little bit wild in here. Nubarak, Lily, Dehaka, Falstad. That is an interesting setup. I mean, you have Cocoon now, too. They need another damage dealer. They can't get another melee in there. Not even Thrall is going to be able to get enough damage in, because Falstad is not really someone that will deliver most of the damage in your team. You can stack some extra damage through a Hinterland Blast, but you want to have something that hits a little bit harder. Ana with Li Ming and Malthael. Decent draft for Run It Down. Last pick. Is that going to save it? What's going to be the choice here? Jimmy again? Could see Reyna. Hasn't really been banned or picked yet, and they played it in the last game, but could be that the Falstad player is swapping over to that. If they want a mage, it's a bit of a different story. Orphia is still out, but I don't know if they can actually play her. And they're hesitating a bit on that choice too. Now, Limik against Nubarak is, of course, also great. Oh, Lunara. Oh, like, that draft is getting more wild by the second. I mean, that's just the wildlife draft right there. You have a bird, you have a dinosaur, you have a panda, a cockroach, and you have Bambi. So, I'm not so sure. The Jimmies are definitely in a bit of a weird spot with that draft. But, well, let's see if they can make it happen. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Sky Temple. Game number 2, the Jimmies in the lead against Run It Down on Sky Temple. And we have a wild draft, the wildlife draft on the side of the Jimmies. The blue team with Fuzzy on Falstad, Sandwhale on Dehaka, Public on Lily, Grouch on Nubarak, and Radfan on Lunara. And on the right side of the map, their opponent, Run It Down, Barracuda on Genji, Blackthorn on Malthael, Cheer It Up on Ana, Dwibble on Johanna, and Nachtkind on Li Ming. Our Division 7 series in Heroes Launch continues, and we have the auto attack build for Falstad, so straight into the stacks, double global for the team. And can they play the macro game? That's the big question of this one. Now they have a lot of heroes that can actually get out of harm's way pretty easily in this setup. So if they want to play around their opponent, that's definitely something that they can do. Question is just simply, do they have that map awareness to really pull all of that off, yes or no? So we'll have to see how this is going to work for them. At the bottom of the map, Falstad, well, he's actually flying topside right now. Okay, so for everybody who wants to learn a little bit, let's talk about that immediately. One of the reasons why you want to play globals, there's a couple of reasons how you want to play a global. Like, the worst thing that you can actually do in 99% of the cases is to Hearthstone back to the Nexus and then use your global to move back onto lane. You normally don't want to do that. You also don't just want to throw your global out for no reason whatsoever. Your global allows you to keep pressure on the other lanes, because at any point you could fly in, burrow in, and just turn a 1 versus 1 setup into a 2 versus 1, for example. So you always want to make sure that the global, when you use it, first of all, that it is off cooldown as much as you can, and when you use it, that you get value. There's nothing worse than abandoning a solo lane, for example, as Dehaka, burrowing into the middle or the top from the bot lane, and trying to get a drag, not connect the drag, and not kill the target while you're losing experience on the lane that you just left. So when you play with globals, you really want to know how the map works, and you want to make sure that you are having also good map awareness, or that your team calls out when they need you somewhere and you can make that move happen. When we're talking about Sky Temple, that, for example, means... Fuzzy a bit under pressure from Genji. That means that once that the objective is done, and the second objective is about to spawn, you want to have at least one of your globals up at the top side, because then the hero can soak an additional wave and move down slower than your opponent. So Dehaka for now is at the bottom of the map. That makes perfect sense, because we have those shrines activating in the middle and the top in the first objective. So, oh, good drag here for him. Nice, and a good stun too. Even with the Iron Skin, that might be tough for Johanna, but she gets away. But yeah, having the global at the bot lane makes a lot of sense, because Dehaka can then burrow top or middle once that the shrine spawns, and that's going to be super important here to get that extra experience. But how are you going to play this? So when the minion waves come in, Dehaka can stay longer, or Falstad, than the opponent, and can soak one additional wave of minions, while your opponent is already forced to rotate. If your opponent stays, you can stay too. And then at some point, when you feel you have an impact in the fight that ensures in the 4 versus 4, then you burrow in. Or you wait for another wave once your opponent leaves the lane and take that additional wave. And you make those plays a couple of times during a game, and you will establish a lead in minion experience. Blackthorn is getting a little bit low here, and Fuzzy is actually going in deep for this one. Doesn't quite get the kill. But yeah, so the Dehaka can stay down here a bit more, and can then rotate in late. But for example, this is still a 4 versus 4 fight. Malthael is topside. Falstad has already moved down, so Dehaka is defending the bottom of the map right now. Can then burrow in here or here and try and get a drag on. Fuzzy himself on his Falstad is really low, and Dehaka burrows in a bit more of a defensive position. Is going to try and go for the drag, misses it against Genji. And now we're having them lose 2 temples if they're not careful, because Malthael has already moved to the top, so he's taking this. And in the middle of the map, we have still the fight over temple number 2. But Dehaka isn't... Anubarak isn't there. There's the drag, that's a good one, but they are definitely having a lot of problems here with hit points. And you are going up against 2 heroes that have reset potentials. First of all... Oh, Liming with the combo there. They engage into the backline, that's a strong one. They go for Genji, and he goes down. He was too deep. Didn't expect that particular hit. 7 talents are ready for run it down. Falstad flies top and starts to pressure Blackthorn here, trying to recapture the last and final shots that we see on that temple. So they're at least getting those. They will also soon hit level 7. Nubarak dives in as well, trying to help out here, so they get the remaining shots fired. 1 kill against 0, level 7 on both sides. In terms of talents, we're having still the deep dive combo for Nubarak, going straight on level 1 into the Underking, straight into the Subterranean Shield on level 7. And yep, with that, we're having at the same time Lunara going for a bit of an interesting build here. Splintered Spear still strong, but also the Blossom Swell on level 4 right now, with level 1 having the Sentinel Wisp taken. So for the time being, both of the teams still fairly even here. I mean, not too much difference. A slight advantage in experience that we have for Run It Down. The Jimmy still played decently. Anna with 6 stacks on her level 1, the piercing darts. And Lilia, of course, has now the cleanse available too. Fawcett so far on 8 stacks for the Seasoned Marksman. Nothing really too crazy yet. But we're going to see how that's going to work out. The Globals are a little bit all over the place right now, but they still give them an experience lead. A small one when it comes to those off lanes. But late game is something that concerns me a bit, because they're taking a lot of damage in those team fights. And once that we are seeing Nachtkin and Barracuda getting the resets on the Swift Strike and the abilities for Li Ming, that might be a huge problem. There are a lot of squishies there. Again, the ult on Lily might help mitigate that to an extent, but it's definitely not going to be all that easy. Calamity is now also ready for Nachtkind. I was not able to use that during the last engagement. But of course the bottom temple is going to be up next. Which means that you want to have your global topside now. That's exactly where Falstad currently is. And we're having, for the time, also camp taken. Genji is trying to sniff that out. It's a bit late to that party though. Could have maybe tried and make a play there, but it was just a few seconds late. Fuzzy is trying to get the vision. Needs to be really careful, because Genji... He should have known that Genji is there. So now that the temple activates, there's still 2 heroes at the top. But this is the moment where you want to burn that down. Falster wants to burn that down as quickly as he can. Then he can rotate down once those heroes appear. And before that, you don't really want to fight too much. They have a 4 versus 3 for a few more seconds, but you can move back a little bit. Allow Falstad a bit of time to just clear that, because your own camp is going to do a lot of damage with that. Yeah, we're getting a bit of damage in. Should do more, to be honest. But now has to move down. And we already have the fight at the bot lane starting. So we see the exact opposite of what should happen here. Resets are in. Public barely getting away. And it seems like Sandwhale is going to die too. And Falstad is just now arriving. So what we just saw happen is that the team with the Globals was fighting a 4 versus 5. Whereas Falstad is top. There are several ways how you can play that. Now, first of all, Falstad at the top lane is probably not the best choice compared to Dehaka, because Falstad still has a range that he can hit with his ult, whereas Dehaka can just simply burrow down to the bottom of the map, so they could have switched that already. But if you decide to take the additional wave at the top, which you can do because you have a mercenary camp pushing through, then your team has to move back. And you will sacrifice just a few shots on the objective, but that sacrifice is going to be worth it because Falstad can still fly down and you're not losing too much time. But as it stands, they haven't really made that play. They've taken the full 4 versus 5 fight and they shouldn't really. So you really, the first thing that you need to do in Heroes of the Storm when you're trying to learn the game is you need to learn how to counter 5. That's the, as ridiculous as it sounds, it's literally your first advice. Learn how to counter 5. And if your number is smaller than the opponent's number when you're looking at a team fight, get the hell out of there. Very rarely, unless you're ganking and unless you're getting an insta-kill somewhere, you want to make a play around that. So that is important. Another thing is, already with the Hinterland Blast taken as the heroic ability on Falstad, that's another thing that concerns me a little bit, and the reason for it is actually quite simple. We are still playing on Sky Temple, and on Sky Temple oftentimes you have the boss as a Hail Mary move, and it's a lot of fights or a lot of games that are decided over a fight on the boss. And if you have boss control through a Mighty Gust, it will give you a huge lead. This, for example, the drag, you gust the backline, and you immediately have the target isolated. So Hinterland Blast is a bit of a weird one. Nearly getting the kill against Nachtkind, but well done. Just moving out. Dwibble, on the other hand, is low and should actually fall here. Anna! Oh, keeps alive. And Anubarak, what are you doing? No! Noob is suiciding straight into them, and now the last rights comes in, and that's a second stack on the heroic ability of Malthael. Lily is down. Anubarak with the YOLO move. Dwibble still low. Radfan trying to get the damage in, but yeah, they are way too greedy here. So many greedy things happening right now. Anubarak goes too deep, starts to take it down here, well, and is then eliminated just as the objective is on the map. Now level 13 talents are ready too. And that's a bit tough. That's honestly a bit tough here. Also, if you want to make the engage with Anubarak, you need to use the cocoon a lot quicker. You need to force that. They need to be more coordinated in these fights, and especially with the double global. It's the main reason why I also talked about the globals earlier. Just having the globals doesn't mean that you need to know how to play with them, and that's something where they currently make a few mistakes. Bless shields coming out. Grouch able to get to the fountain. Johanna is far out there. Here comes the stun. Dribble with the Unstoppables. There's the Iron Skin. And this time the last rights gets some damage, but is not able to get the kill. At the same time, Dehaka is still deep-pushing the bot lane. Has not taken a lot of the shots here. Needs to deep-push those two Siege Giants as they come in. But the middle is completely under the control of Run It Down. It's 13 against 13 at least, and that gives Falstad with 17 stacks on the Seasoned Marksman now also access to the Giant Killer. Face checking the bush a little bit too hard for my liking. Already the ult. There's Genji. The kill against Falstad. Even Liming with their ult can't save all of them. Another reset as we see the Swift Strike hit Anubarak. And those are kills number 5 and number 6 as Dehaka is still at the bottom of the map. You are engaging into a 4 versus 5, forcing it, and that's not really a good move there, especially with the globals. So now Dehaka has to get out of dodge as well. Might be actually silenced. No, the dart misses. And 16 stacks, by the way, on Ana. And gets the dragon against Genji. That isn't really too bad. He himself needs to still be careful, but that was actually a lot better than expected there. The problem really for the blue team is that their coordination is not where it has to be. If you want to play around a Nubarak composition, it's already tricky enough that they don't have a stun follow-up after Nubarak moves in. But if they really want to force these fights, they have to do it around Cocoon. Dive in now, hit the Cocoon, and then go for it. Still no Cocoon being used. Still no Cocoon. Where's that Cocoon? Hit Ana with a Cocoon. Try and take Johanna down and then focus on Ana afterwards. We still don't have the Cocoon being used. Falstad could fly in. Doesn't do that either. There's nothing down here. And there's a severe lack of heroic abilities being used. Huge problem. There was a 4 versus 2 that you could force whenever you want by simply using the Cocoon and then moving in against either one of the targets. And instead, they didn't do that. They needed to fly Falstad down here. And that's the big problem that we're seeing with the setup right now. So, definitely a combo. Again, the draft already is a little bit wild, right? But it's a combo where you can make plays, but you have to make them properly. Also, a little bit buffed. Diamond Skin these days, taken as a level 16 talent. Still not sure if that's really something that you want to take there, compared to Mirror Ball, where you can get a lot more damage out. 6 kills against 1 and a 1.5 level lead now for Run It Down, as they're looking for more kills. Attacking Dehaka for the time being. The drag misses. The rest of the team currently busy over here. But again, you can force a fight. You have a 3 versus 4 if you want it, and a 3 versus 5 if you fly in with Falstad and try and force the battle there. Structural advantage on the map is in the hands of Run It Down as well. Slightly though. There's still forts available at the top, but they're a bit better set up. And now, at the bottom, the play for the Giants. That burrow doesn't really make too much sense. There's again the sleep, and by now the quest of Ana is also completed, which gives a huge amount of range to stay in the back here and stay a lot safer. Dehaka's top side, as he should be. Bottom temple again. This is a great setup for the blue team now. Get level 16, let this push in, and then move down with Dehaka. This is a great setup. Dehaka needs to now make a move together with the rest of the team. Move in. Here's Johanna, and let's see how they play it this time. Where's the Cocoon? As Dehaka comes in, they can make the play. The drag doesn't connect because of the Unstoppable. Iron Skin came through. That's a good one. Cocoon on Ana. That's a nice setup, but the kill against Anubarak already. The heals come out too late, and now we're seeing all those squishy heroes lasered into the ground. Even Genji survives. The second kill is hitting Lily, and it's going to be the end of Dehaka too. Talked about it during the draft. They have a lot of squishies. They get the value out of the global thanks to the top lane push now. But the entire setup is just very difficult to sustain. And Nubarak is not really a main tank that likes to have a sustainable fight. He wants to engage hard, he wants to chase opponents, but he's not Muradin, he's not Garrosh. He's not someone that has these sustainable battles here, unless he has a bit more direct support behind him with maybe even the burst heal. And currently that's not the case. If you're playing a Nubarak, you're trying to dive in, you're trying to blow up a target, and they don't have that setup right now. The level 16 talent helps him even a bit more with the epicenter to get that engage, but they really need to make that first move, and they have a tough time pulling that off now. We also have 3 stacks on Malthael, and that of course means that he has now 15-second cooldown reduction on his heroic ability. Can throw that out a lot more carelessly here. Barracuda even checking that out. A lot of squishies again on that team. Damage output for Liming at 35,000. Lunara still at 45, so looking strong there, but they have trouble sustaining themselves in these battles, as we said before. Here comes the ult from Lili immediately. Where's that cocoon when you need them? Doesn't come out. Instead, we see another kill. There it is. Down goes Anubarak. Once again, that is death number 5 on him. 4 stacks on the last rides. They're trying to turn it around and save the core, but things are looking bad for them. Again, the sleep, the setup, the Haka about to fall. Genji goes in and takes down Falstad, and the rest of the team is also low. But Dwibble might have gone a little bit too deep. Johanna is in trouble, and so is Anna. Oh, Lili dies just as she's trying to go in for the kill. 20 on the board, 12 kills against 1, and they are in a great spot, but not strong enough to take the core down just yet. 94% on the core. 2 temples activating on the map. Great spot for Run It Down to be in. The Jimmies are in trouble. They have to defend the top lane too. The camps are taken at the bot lane. And with the camps taken bot side now, that means of course we have 2 Siege Giant camps pushing against the core directly with the continuous catapults that keep now spawning on the bottom of the map. So both of these temples are fairly safe to take for the red team, because if the blue team tries to contest them, they give up bot lane, and bot lane, the longer it lasts, will eventually push onto the core and maybe even finish the game. So double temple already under the control of the red team, which means that we have now keeps attacked directly. Massive problem. Don't want to have more catapults pushing on the map. And in Nubarak you have 2 globals, but in Nubarak is the one that is currently defending the bot lane. Definitely not the setup that you want. He now needs to rotate in. It's a bit late on that. They're simply moving Malthael back, using even the unstoppable. Better safe than sorry play here on his part. But you can definitely contest this. They have level 20, keep that in mind, so they can fight for it. But they have Johanna still at the top. Don't want to go in just now, but you can stall this. If you force a bit of a fight now around level 20 talents, you have a really good setup. You have level 20 advantage, and as we said before, bottom lane, heavily pressuring. 1 catapult, 2 Siege Giants, and they're getting another one too. No keep has fallen. Both of the keeps are still in play, and now Dehaka has moved down to the bottom of the map to do this. So the red team could have done a bit more here. They could have tried to just like force a fight over the middle. Instead, they're now engaging and trying to force the fight against Lili. And she is dead. And that is 5 stacks now on Malthael's level 10. Things are not looking good for the Jimmies at all. Hinterland Blast, a little bit of random damage on Falstad. It doesn't really matter. They're already back to full HP. Ana can easily heal it out. Lunara gets some damage through. Dwibble on half HP, but of course indestructible is now a problem too. Dehaka is making the rotation back in. They're still trying to hold on to this. But now you have this spell armor of the camp to deal with too, and this is just not gonna be an easy one at all. And Nubarak again not using the cocoon here. They go for him. He's dead again. Use the cocoon in the last second. That's too late. It's not how you want to engage into these fights. You want to use it a lot quicker. And they're going straight for Dehaka with another hit on the last rights. Another keep down. Falstad is dead. Here comes the Blessed Shield. And also on top of that, the Sleeping Dart. And they're going to end the game right there. Dwibble still a bit close on Johanna to dying, but he should still have the Indestructible to proc it whenever they need to. And they're starting to go for that keep. It's a little bit half-hearted here, but they should be able to make the play. Dwibble moves away, goes down. Indestructible procced earlier already. Lunara gets the kill, and they actually save the core for now on 80%. But a double temple activating is pretty much already telling you where that story goes. The death on Johanna, on the other hand, keeps her out of play for 50 more seconds. So they can try and make something happen here. But it is... yeah, it's kind of weird right now. You need to win both temples. You kind of need to win both at this point. And I'm not sure how they're going to try and make that happen. Falster can fly in once he's back, and Uburak still has to walk. But yeah, the keep is down. Now you have 2 attacking the core right away. And they are focusing their attention to the top lane, but that doesn't really help them because 1 temple is already enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is game. As we have game number 3 forced. Run it down, tying the series. Well, maybe not. 2% on the core, and they try to go for Nachtkind. They might get the kill there, but at the top, Malthael and the rest of the team are just taking this apart. Down goes Dehaka, and here it is, the end of the game. Game 3 coming up next year at Heroes Launch Division 7. Game number 1 ended in the favor of the Jimmies. Game number 2 taken by Run It Down, and now in game number 3 on Towers of Doom. The series is going to be decided in Division 7 today. And game 2 didn't really go well for the Jimmies. That draft just didn't work out. As I said as we were drafting, if you have the map control, the map awareness to run the double global, then you definitely have a chance of making plays there. But I already questioned that during the draft, just simply because the performance in game number 1 wasn't really focused on macro. Instead, it was more so the team fights that they were able to decide in their favor. So, didn't quite work out for the Jimmies in the second game, but let's see if they can change their MO here. We have still first pick, first ban for them, and I would expect them to draft something without at least false stat. If you want to have a global, rely on the Haka, try and use him at the top lane here for Towers of Doom. It's still a big map where you can use that too, but they definitely need to change their setup a little bit. We still have the mage focus when it comes to bans. So Gul'dan continues to be banned out. We have the ban also on Kalthas that we have seen banned out in game number 2 after the performance of the first one. Li Ming led through for now, but Genji at least eliminated. So at least part of the double reset composition is now not available for Run It Down if they would try to play that same style again. We had 2 Asmodan bans from Run It Down. And there's the Diablo ban. Alright. Actually, I think one of them was from the Jimmies, the Asmodan ban. So Asmodan is up for the first time. And the insta-pick. The insta-pick. Asmodan need to pick. Alright, let's hope that they know how to stack, or I'm going to have an aneurysm during that game. But yeah. Give me a Johanna with that. Give me anybody who has a little bit of wave clear, just so that we can get Asmodan to a point where he can actually stack and get his annihilation together. Asmodan on the first pick, and the reaction is Johanna taking that away, and Li Ming. Okay, so we already have some wave clear here from them, and Li Ming, of course, for the resets potentially. I guess Nachtkind is going to play the same hero again. But now what do you play in terms of stacking that? Are you playing a Jaina, trying to get the wave clear through that? Are you going to go for a different hero? I mean, there's so many different setups that you can go through. Even if you just have an auto attacker in here, anything but letting Asmodan just do his own thing is something that in my book already gives you a bit of a lead. Alright, Arthas and Reyna combo again. The Jimmies with Jimmy. Last time they did that, they won. It's a decent setup there with Arthas Reyna. So already a combo taken. Can help to stack. Could be better, but yeah. Alright. In terms of bans, there's still main tanks that you can ban out. But they go for Stukov. So they were a bit worried about Stukov's performance of game number 1, so they're banning him out again. No main tank ban by them, which means that we're still having Garrosh available. But Garrosh was also available in the last game and decided in favor of a Nuburak, which you could pick for sure. But then I would really like to see a Nuburak chosen with a Malfurion in here. You want to have a root behind this. Ban for the Jimmies. And they get rid of... Alright, the Honor combo. The sleeps were pretty annoying for them in the last game. I mean, there were a couple of choke points where they were funneling into and made it easy for Honor, but still, piercing dart not going to be an option. So now when it comes to supports, we could see the Malfurion taken on the side of Run It Down, unless they feel they can set those stuns up with Tyrande. Then of course that would be great for them, having a stun into a stun. Li Ming just going straight for a bullseye and saying, okay, I got this. Especially with Hunter's Mark, damage increase. But they go for Alexstrasza and Malthael again. They were stacking him pretty quickly in the last game. They're going to try and do that once more. Getting the damage out with Li Ming first, a poke from the distance, try and get the target low, and then finishing the job with Malthael and getting those cooldown reductions for him as well. But this is going to be the part that I'm interested in the most. You still have a Muradin to play around. You still have Garrosh available. Could go into a Nuburak as well if you wanted to, but I would really like to have them with a support that can at least play around that if they do. Okay, Rhaegar and Ragnaros. Arthas as the main tank. Rhaegar with a lightning shield can help with the stacking process. Ragnaros can help too. Okay, I kind of have to just rethink that quickly. because I saw Arthur as the off laner the entire time. So Ragnaros in this setup, probably Lava Wave, I'd say. I guess you can still play Sulfuras. And there comes Phoenix as the last damage dealer for Run It Down. Okay, so let's see how that works out. Ragnaros, again, has some potential, alright, you have a lot of wave clear. How is Asmodan going to play this? There's a lot of questions at this point, so let's go into game number 3 and see which team decides the best of 3 series in their favor. The Jimmies going up against Run It Down. The final map in the series, and we have the Jimmies on the left side of the map. Asmodan, played by Fuzzy. Sandwhale on Rhaegar, Public on Arthas. We have Grouch on Ragnaros and Radfan on Reyna. With the right side of the map, Run It Down in red, Barracuda on Phoenix, Blackthorn on Malthael, Dwibble on Johanna, Cheridab on Alexstrasza, and Nakend on Li Ming. Already, the spec from Asmodan and the Gluttony on level 1, so yep, we need someone that helps him with stacking. And there we have the Meteor build started by Ragnaros, or as Smexy calls it, the Meatball build. Rolling meatballs around the entire game. Okay, we have a couple of heroes that can really slow and therefore proc the ace in the hole for Jimmy, which is, of course, his level 1 choice. But let's see how the stacking process goes. Okay, so it gets the damage in, and I mean, they get a couple of stacks out of that, but not really too much. If they really want to play that, I guess their best chance is really to play around the lightning shield a little bit. So far the stacking process doesn't really impress me too much, but the idea is to keep Asmodan in a 4-man rotation and have at the top lane Asmodan playing the solo. Li Ming against Asmodan, that would be a bit of a mistake. If anything, it should be Barracuda here. Against Ragnaros, that is. Talking about Barracuda, he's getting pretty much bodied by that setup. So it's a 2-for-1 for now, as we have more delivered in the middle of the map. The stacking could definitely be a little bit smoother, but they're making rotation happen and they're helping Asmodan. So I already appreciate that. So there's at least the thought process of making sure that you can stack here a bit for your Asmodan player. They're kind of indecisive when it comes to that. But here, okay, there comes the attack. They're going in, and they're taking that down. 27 now. Again, could be done a little bit better. Get a few auto attacks in. Just hold back that Orb of Annihilation a bit more before you make the play there. Ideally, I think they would keep Ragnaros and Asmodan in the early stages on 2-3 lanes together, or waves together. But they help Asmodan. That's the most important part. They are not quite as quick as they could be. They could time that a bit better, but I'm already happy that they are making sure that Asmodan gets a bit of assistance here. We've seen too many Asmodan players in the past. They were pretty much left to their own devices and had a very, very tough time to get any stacks together whatsoever. Another attempt. Something like this, on the other hand, can't really happen. That's a problem. You can't just throw out an Orb of Annihilation on a full HP minion wave. That doesn't do anything for you. That doesn't help you in the slightest. It's still a big cooldown to be burned, so something that you should never really do. You always wait a bit longer. That being said, massive commitment at the top lane now with 3 heroes trying to get that camp. I'm not sure if that's really the play that you want to go for, because it takes a lot of the pressure away from the other lanes, and your opponent can exploit that if they want to, which we're seeing happen right now. Again, too early on the Orb, but they are about to get a kill against Malthael. That kind of makes up for that, as long as Arthur survives, and indeed he does. So they get a lot of damage against the bottom structures here, and can take down an easy tower too. Asmodan moving into... doesn't really know where to move to either. And I'm a little bit worried now, again, because at the beginning they really tried to help him out, but right now it looks like they're just dancing around the shrine and trying to claim that here. There should be an interrupt from Dwibble. Ooh! Get some damage in. Ragnaros got the top. And now the fight down here. Arthas moves in, tries to go for that, and they're trying to get the kill. Can't quite get that just now. Big funnel into the choke point here. 5 versus 5, and Arthur's in trouble. They're trying to heal him, but Malthael jumps in deep, and then Phoenix with a final hit against the frontliner. In comes another hit from Asmodan, but they're just chasing them down. Malthael himself is low, but is he gonna fall? Yeah, he is! The counter kill against Ragnaros, though, making it 2-for-1, and Sandwhale is about to die. Alexstrasza with a hit. Asmodan gets away. Nope, he doesn't. Phoenix takes him down too. It is a team composition that is more so catering towards the late game. 2 altars now fired against 1. The advantage in the hands of Run It Down as they also claim their level 7 talent. Asmodan, 4 minutes in, is sitting at 43 stacks. Nothing too crazy, as we said before. We also have Reyna with Behemoth Armor on level 4. Not a fan. We talked about this a lot in the past. You need to get a lot of auto attacks in, and I don't think that he's going to be able to make that happen in this game. We're still seeing in the middle, though, that little fight here. And again, Fuzzy needs to hold the orb back and coordinate it with the rest of the team here. Right, orb goes in, but the lightning shield comes too late. They still get some stacks out of it, so they still get something. But yeah, they need to try and stack Asmodan quicker. 4 or 5 minutes into the game, 55 stacks isn't really enough if you want to make this one of the cornerstones of your composition in this game. Rune Tap also over the Icebound Fortitude for Arthas, despite the fact that he doesn't have Icy Talons on level 4. That's definitely a bit of a concern here. When it comes to the stacks, okay, there comes the hit, misses, so, well, they need to stall that, and Arthas is in trouble too. Condemn, slow, and the kill. Arthas down, Malthael with a hit here. Asmodan gets a few more stacks together as he hits the orb against 3, but that's now 5 kills against 2, just as a double altar is about to spawn on the map, which means once again that we have that advantage for Run It Down. The Jimmies struggling to find their way into this game. They are currently an entire level behind. Here comes the hit, and Reyna is not in a position to get the penetrating round through. So definitely the stacking process now very, very lacking for the Jimmies, and Asmodan just hinges so heavily on that particular setup that I am a bit worried for them. They can get some interrupts through that, that's at least something, so Asmodan can help out with that for sure. But is he going to get the damage? That's the question. That's a good hit against 4, but already Ragnaros is down. 93 stacks at this point. Look at Rhaegar, he himself is in trouble. And at least Arthas is trying to fight through this, and they're going for Johanna. They're actually getting quite some damage out, but here comes the ult as the level 10s are in. And immediately the last rites as the follow-up from Malthael. And Arthas is obliterated. 7 kills against 2, another 4 shots fired against the core. 24 against 36 at this point in time. Yeah, it's a bad spot to be in right now if you are a fan of the Jimmies, because the Jimmies, they are rustled. They are rustled a lot. And they also have to still wait until they finally get their level 10 here. Blessed Shield comes in from Johanna. Could have seen a Falling Sword at some point to be experimented with, considering that the last patch buffed it. Cooldown is now lower and the damage is a bit higher. But Blessed Shield with the stun, of course, still an absolute insane setup, especially if you're attempting to get a target killed through Li-Ming, who went into Disintegrate, even in this game. We don't have an Uburak here for the Cocoon on the other side, but still not taking the wave of force here. 137 stacks for Asmodan now. We have 11 stacks for Reyna. The level 10 abilities are there. And it's Sulfura Smash. Gonna see Sulfuras in this game now. If the Howling Blast hits and the Sulfuras connects, you definitely have kill potential against some backliners here. Asmodan doing a bit better now, trying to coordinate it with Sandwhale and the Lightning Shield. But the situation is still a grim one. Still far behind in this game, and that might be even a kill. Oh, that's an early one. But the kill is there. Blackthorn with 2 stacks already on his last rites. And that is just on level 12, so things are tough. At least the mercenaries have been taken here, but at the top lane we're seeing the attack against Sandwhale again, and ooh, that could be a kill, that should be a kill, that will be a kill. He gets the fountain, but we still haven't taken it down. Yeah, there comes also Arthas, but the problem is it's a 5 versus 1 versus 2 right now. Arthas is dead as well. They are feeding the heroes into the opponent's setup. The thought process being, let's try and get a counter kill here, but they are too late to the party. Asmodan so far hasn't found any value on his trade either. Could, for example, now try and take that over, but things are... Oh, that hurts too. Nice Sulfuras, but Grouch is still gonna die, isn't he? Yeah, he's dead. So is Phoenix, though. At least one counter kill, but both of the altars have now been claimed by the red team. And now we're seeing 16 points on the core against 36. Oh boy, that is not pretty. 13 on the board, and Come on, Asmodan, you can do it. I believe in you. I don't, but prove me wrong. Come on, do something. 14 stacks on Jimmy. It is a sad day if you pick Behemoth Armor. Asmodan is getting some wave clear, but that's all that he's getting. And Malthael is having a fun game. It's just like, I'm gonna stack my last rights all day long. And yeah, let's look at the damage here for a moment. I mean, 16,000 for Ragnaros right now. You look over to Phoenix and Malthael. Malthael not doing as much as I thought, but still enough. And down here, we have one of the bell towers already being attacked. Zzz, disintegrate, getting the combos through. Artfan being pushed too. Next minion wave is already on the way to soak up the damage from the bell tower itself. Here comes the attack against Reyna. Blessed shield, everything is added. They're moving back, but down here, Alexstrasza wants to kill him. Ming falls first, and that is another kill, 100% against Johanna. She's down, Radfan is still alive, Alexstrasza can't get the kill there. And all of a sudden, the blue team starting to get a bit of momentum in this game for themselves, and they even pick up the level 13 talent. Could try and push that bell tower. I would love for them to push the bell tower. Just push the bell tower. Come on, Jimmy. Push the bell tower. Come on. Come on. Go to the bell tower. Go to the bell tower. Be a good boy. Be a good boy. That's a good boy. That's a good Jimmy. Nice. Taking it down, and that's 5 shots fired. They're getting there. They're getting there. Alright, 5 shots fired. Then again, this is a bit of a concern. It's also a ballsy move, to be honest. If the blue team figures out that 2 heroes are missing the entire time, they might actually go up there and take it. But yeah, the red team is at least making something out of the situation. So now we have 31 points against... Ooh, Malthael! Oh, wow! Oh, I really thought they could get him. Alexstrasza, by the way, during all of this was sitting in the back here and just simply goes into the bush and moves away. And nobody cares at all. Okay. They also didn't even try to defend the bell tower at the bot lane. Blue team they are definitely the gift that keeps giving. Now they're 2 levels behind, and a talent could have tried to hold on to the bell tower a little bit longer. But they're at least getting some stacks together for Asmodan, who's now sitting at 212. Obviously, when you're on level 20, or when you're heading into 20, you want to have the 400, so that you can, yeah, just capitalize on that. Alexstrasza, by the way, hasn't really taken talents yet. She finally does that, but at the same time, the fight is starting. Salvo, Asmodan isn't here. They're forcing another 4 versus 5, and they lose nearly everyone. The ancestral healing negating the last rites for a moment. The globe comes in as an afterthought, but 2 heroes are already dead. 5 versus 3 now, just as the triple altar phase starts. And with 12 points on the core, that means you could lose it right here. Especially with the bell tower now chosen at the bot lane. You hit 3, and you have the game won. But even if they only get 2 points on the core, it's not really the point where you want to be in. Alright. I mean, this is an easy one. This is free. The one at the bottom is free. Are they going to interrupt the one top side? They're probably going to try here. Yeah, Asmodan is the one who could interrupt the right side, and they let him channel. Not quite sure why that's a thing. But there's the hit against Dribble. 5 fired already. Phoenix at the bottom is channeling 2, so we're going to see 2 points on the core, and then it's going to be the fight over the last one here. Choke point battle. Where's the Hyperion? Well, it's on cooldown, so we're not going to see that anytime soon. Malthael with the damage. It's not enough, but the fight is still raging on as Arthas is getting nearly dropped. Well, scratch the nearly. He's down. They're trying to get the turnaround kill against Dribble. He simply sacrifices himself. Not quite. Ha! Asmodan with the kill. No, sorry. It's actually Ragnaros. Asmodan is still chipping in. But Ragnaros, thanks to his trade, is able to get a kill. And they should be able to get another one if they focus on this one. But Ragnaros is left alone. They don't like him after all. And he dies. Another quick hit here. Nachtkin on the channel. They're trying to get at least Malthael, and they're about to. But that's the end of the game. GG and well played as Run It Down take the 2-1 victory against the Jimmies at Heroes Launch.